Alrighty, this is Resurrected Hobbyist doing a feedback, work in progress, long play video for Ydin Holder. You know, you said you were looking for people to give a fresh set of eyes on it. I volunteered. Here I am. So you said there should be under 30-minute playthrough on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this into 3 videos. 2 20-minute videos because I tend to talk a fair bit, and those will comprise the gameplay itself, and then a 3rd video for my overall thoughts on it. So this is going to be part 1. Let's get started. Okay, so we've got the main menu, standard options. Don't see anything to, investigate any deeper, so we'll go ahead and hit start. Okay, so we got a D&D party out in the middle of the park. Suvi watched the brown-haired girl's back as she adjusted the brim of her witch hat while aiming her staff forward. Looks like you got some graphic cutoff here. Because this looks like this coattail, I think? Yeah, coattail, because that goes up into her side there. Should come down more over here. And her staff goes a little bit further. So, I do like the graphic for the orc and goblins, I guess. So, before them are several armored monsters that can only be described as from a fantasy world. A few goblins and an orc. Well, when I call it, I call it. The creatures grumbled to each other as they glanced at their burned-up companions. Ooh, I just noticed something. Where your, what's the word? Dialogue box down here toward the bottom has this dip, between the orc's legs. The coloring looks like blood, and because of the positioning, well, it looks like the orc is having a, situation, we'll say. So, observation, neither good nor bad on that. Anyway, brown-haired girl, are you okay? Yeah. Good, I wasn't too late. Okay, too late for what? The witch chanted a spell as mana glowed around her staff, turned red, and then became magic markings in the air. The goblin took a step back in hesitation while the orc readied his shield. Okay. A little bit of a visual discrepancy from what is being shown. The orc doesn't have a shield. No, doesn't make a huge difference, just, that's something that sticks out for me. Flame wave! Fire flowed out of the staff and drew into a wave of flames that slammed into the monsters. The goblins screamed as they crumpled over from the heat, but the orc merely fell to its knees, having used its shield to protect itself. The brunette lowered her staff and breathed heavily. Small fires still burned on patches of the park, making the air heavy and difficult to breathe in. The orc looked over his shield warily, noticing that the witch's attack had stopped. It struggled back to its feet, minding the burns on its body from where it couldn't protect itself. One is still alive. Yeah, I see that. Let me concentrate. The orc charged forward and the girl chanted another spell. A magic barrier appeared in front of the humans just in time for the orc to slam into it with its club, instantly causing it to chip and crack. Okay. Is that done with the sound effects? Okay. So, through the entire previous flame attack section, I was thinking this would be a lot more visually appealing with graphical representation. Like, where was it? Where did I see that line? Did I skip it? Yeah, so like with this section here, the witch chanted a spell and mana glowed around her staff, turned red, and then became magic markings in the air. Just having, a set of magic markings, magic runes appear over the head of, what's her name? Well, they haven't named her yet, but just appearing over her head of the brown-haired witch. And then maybe having, the orc holding his shield up and just having a flame effect hitting against it. They don't have to be, complex 3D animations. But the game does seem to be set up to give us some visual eye candy. And then you have, oh, by the way, here's my shield. So, yeah. Is that magic? Well, either magic or really advanced technology. I really need to stay focused at the moment, unless you want to die. Time and place, dude. Time and place. The girl began casting another spell, racing against time to attack before her barrier failed completely. Suvi was worried about the orc, but kept his eyes on his new companion while he stood up. As their only line of defense broke down, the girl cast her spell, the mana around her turning blue. Mana blade! The tip of her staff was affixed with a blade of magic, and she thrust it forward. The orc's vast experience with hand-to-hand combat allowed it to grab the blade before it could cause any damage. However, it didn't take long for the battle to be turned on the girl. If you don't mind, Suvi reached around the brown-haired girl and gripped her staff. I feel like I'm supposed to make a sex joke there. What are you doing? I'm gonna stop talking now. Helping. With his added strength, they drove the staff forward once more and pierced the orc's neck. It stumbled back and held its injury. The creature wobbled around for a few minutes before finally collapsing to the ground. Suvi took the girl's staff from her grip. Why? Hey, what are you doing? That's mine. Yeah, it's a reasonable response. And I hope you have a good answer. I only need it for a moment. Not a good answer. The boy moved in front of the suffering orc, stunning the girl into silence. This is the first time I've killed. I'd rather not let it suffer. But if you killed it, why would it be suffering? Suvi finished off the monster with a magic blade, then paid a moment of respect to the dead. Okay, did I misread something? Okay, well, yeah, it doesn't actually say that the orc died. So, alright, so... I don't know, I would add a line in here about it still being alive to make it clear that the orc is not dead yet. Because the inference was it was dead. And then he says, I don't want it to suffer. So it's like, wait a minute, if it's dead, why is it suffering? So, it's not immediately clear that the orc is still alive, is what that boils down to. And paid a moment of respect to the dead. A few seconds later, the blue mana dissipated and Suvi returned the girl's staff. Thank you for saving me. It's my duty. Suvi offered her his hand. In any case, I owe you greatly. I have some experience with people like you. I doubt you have a place to stay, and I'm prepared to help you with that. Okay. She blushed, hesitated, and then took a step back. With people like me? No, I wasn't chosen for that, and anyway, I'm not ready. Okay. Suvi raised an eyebrow. Yeah, I'm raising a few myself. Well, if you want to sleep outside in a strange world... Okay. The brunette calmed down when she realized what he was actually offering. I'm a little confused. Like, okay, I get he's offering her a place to sleep, and I'm assuming food for the night. What was it she thought he was offering at first? Like, she said, you know, I wasn't chosen for that. Okay. What did she think he was inferring she'd been chosen for? Oh, you meant shelter. Yes, okay. She took Suvi's hand. Lots of Suvi. You often read or watch stories about a world that's saved by a hero, whether willingly or unwillingly on their part. Sometimes the hero sets out on their journey with the intent to save. Or perhaps they begin it with the intent to destroy, but change their mind at the last minute. Some heroes do nothing, while destiny comes to them. And my story isn't much different from that. Okay, in my case, it wasn't by choice that I became involved. It was because I was born as the being known as the Ydin holder. Okay. I have questions. We will see if the game answers them. Suvi took off his shoes by the entrance, and the brunette closed the door as she entered the house. This place must be a mansion. How many people live here? Most of the time, just me. Petula sometimes stays here as well, but she thinks it's best to keep her distance for now. Petula? Is that a woman? Your mother? She's not my mother, but I suppose she is my guardian. Okay. The girl examined the details of the entranceway and the hall that led further into the house. She noticed a staircase that went to the second floor. Well, I'm happy to have you stay over. I just need to give her a call. You can leave your shoes by the door. There's a pair of slippers over there if you don't like hard floors. Okay. Suvi moved down the hall to where a telephone waited. He picked up the receiver and dialed a number. It only rang once before someone answered. Suvi? A tired, feminine voice sounded from the other end. It started. Are you okay? Do you need me there? I'll be fine tonight. This one's a nice girl. So Suvi was out looking for whatever the brunette is. Which we still haven't actually established what a Ydin holder is. And apparently there is more than one of them, and Suvi knows that. Okay. Suvi looked over his shoulder to see that the girl had finally gotten her shoes off and was glancing around nervously. Okay, talk to you at school then. Okay. Good night. Good night. The boy heard Petula pass out, smirking to himself before hanging up the phone. Suddenly the light shut off. What kind of magic is this? Suvi walked over and flicked the light switch back on. It's not magic, it's science. I guess from your perspective, it'd be earth magic though. She stared at the boy for a moment. You know I'm not of this world? The magic made it a bit obvious that doesn't exist in this world. Okay. But if the magic doesn't exist in this world, how did the magic work in this world? Like, she was using her magic. Okay. Suvi walked towards the stairs. Let me show you to your room. The brown-haired girl was baffled, but nonetheless followed him. Okay. Suvi led her into the room. It was a simple bedroom with a closet, desk, and bed. Okay. How lavish. Are you sure I can stay here? The girl was amazed as she walked to the center of the room and looked around. You did save my life. I don't know your name. She turned to the boy and touched the brim of her hat. Estelle, Azula. It's nice to meet you, Estelle. I'm Suvi. Suvi pointed to a panel protruding from the wall. This is called a light switch. If you flick it, it'll turn the ceiling light on or off. Estelle walked over and fiddled with it, causing the room to go dark. Then she turned the lights on again. Suvi, tell me, where are the other witches? 7 left before me. I don't know. You're the first witch I've met. Estelle held one of her hands with the other. I see. It's already pretty late, and I have school in the morning. Would it be fine to talk more tomorrow? Estelle nodded. Okay, good night. She turned off the light and placed her staff against the desk, leaning it there, and then went over to the bed and sat on the edge of it. This can't be right. I'm a failure. I can't be the only one to have gotten here. The brunette began crying. They are so much stronger and better than me. Okay. Suvi stood outside the room and heard Estelle cry from inside. So her world sent more than one traveler. Okay. He hesitated while he listened to the girl sob. But she really is the only one I've met so far. Well, assuming we're on this Earth, the Earth is kind of big. You know, there are, 7.5 billion people on the Earth right now? The boy finally headed toward his room. Suvi stood in front of his house, looking back at it from over his shoulder with his school bag slung over one arm and a piece of toast in one hand. The girl's still asleep, so she should be okay alone for now, yeah? You ever think about leaving a note? He took a bite of his toast and headed for school. Okay, we have a girl with pixie dragon wings and a really, really large ponytail. Figure watched him from behind a telephone pole. He glanced back and the figure hid. Shrugging it off, he continued on. When he was far enough, the figure ran ahead to their next hiding place, keeping an eye on him. As Suvi approached the school gates, a familiar face stood there, waiting with a wide yawn. Still bad with mornings? The older man stifled his yawn as he looked towards the source of the voice. It's because I stay up too late at night. Suvi stopped in front of him. Watching another... Cute. Watching another not Jackie, not Chan movie? The man smiled. This is Mr. Kiros, the most energetic guy you'll ever meet. He's our gym teacher and the person most people at our school rely on when physical labor is needed. Rely on? Okay. So, while he is a good teacher, he often pushes his students to try harder to an annoying degree, as a good teacher should. He helped me a lot over the past 2 years, so I owe him in that regard. I'm much too big to be able to pull off most of his moves, but he makes for a good reference point. So we're talking about the same Jackie Chan that, is in this world. Never mind. I'll come back to it if it becomes relevant. Suvi scanned the yard before glancing at the greenhouse. Is Petula here yet? Sure is. She's always the first here. You should know that by now. If the sun's up, she's getting work done. And it's exactly like her, isn't it? Kiros yawned again. Yep. Suvi walked past his teacher and headed toward the school building. He felt eyes on his back once more and turned around but saw no one. Okay, so is our fairy pixie person thing like invisible or like tiny or like I'm kind of getting mixed signals. I'm not sure, like, is Suvi like oblivious to anything that they're not looking for or isn't right in front of them? Or is the pixie girl really good at hiding? I'm not sure which one I'm supposed to be thinking here. Suvi peered at Kiros, but the older man only gave him a casual shrug, so he continued on his way. The blue-eyed stalker carefully peeked out and watched the boy disappear through the doors, watching him change his shoes at his locker before he headed toward the greenhouse. The greenhouse was filled to the brim with flourishing plants. What kind of school has a greenhouse like this? Like, okay, I might be wrong on this, but I've sort of gotten the impression that this individual was like high school aged. So, 15 to 18 range. I mean, this is, like, based on this background, this is a full-on agricultural greenhouse. Not a, the state managed to get the budget to give us, a greenhouse that we can use for, educational purposes. So, anyway, Suvi felt like he had entered another world as he made his way along one of the paths, careful not to step on any vines. He arrived at the center of the greenhouse where a single plant resided. Your homeworld is a lot like this, isn't it, Petula? Hello. As the leaves bent towards the boy, a strange form came into focus. It wasn't a plant at all, but a dryad. Yes, but there are many more. Many more homeworlds? One of these days, another student is going to find you out. Petula glanced at her hands. Oops. Her skin changed from light green to a more human pink. It'll take a bit longer to fix the rest. What happened to your cell phone? It got crushed by a goblin, I think? So it really has begun. Suvi nodded, and the woman smiled at him. Things will become a lot more dangerous around here soon, That's why you decided to help train me, isn't it? Petula stepped forward and patted the top of Suvi's head. Yes, this is the first time I've ever cared for an animal, though. I guess humans still aren't any different from animals to you. No, but I can appreciate the difference now, both for the other students and you. Do you miss your world? Petula nodded. Yes, I came here to save it, but ultimately its fate is up to you. The same goes for those who have not yet arrived, and the others who came to assure the destruction of our worlds. Okay. Okay. I have questions at this point. I mean, I've figured out that something is going on that's threatening at least this world, potentially others, though the exact scope of the threat is unclear right now. Like, I can't tell whether it's a case of this world is threatened now and other worlds will be threatened later, or multiple worlds are threatened and whatever it is that's threatening them is going to have its climax on this world, so this is where we need to stop it. I've gathered that Petula has come here to stop whatever it is. But, again, I'm unclear. Like, she says, I came here to save it. Save her homeworld, this homeworld. I'm unclear on that. So, the woman took her hand off Suvi's head. Who appeared? A girl called Estella Azula. She has a large brimmed hat and a staff, like a witch. I let my guard down and she saved me at the last moment. Used her magic to defend me. An ally, then. She asked if others arrived before her. Do you really think her world sent more than one traveler? Petula pensively put a finger to her chin. Well, the rules never stated that only one person could be sent by each world, and our enemies certainly haven't been above it. Okay. Petula's leaf clothing morphed into human clothing while they talked. All I have to say is that it'll be your feelings towards those who come here that will decide things. It's up to you to discover each being's true intent and whether they can be trusted or not. Okay. I trust you, for one. I appreciate the thought, Suvi, but I arrived far too early. You need to give the others a chance as well. Is there really no way to save multiple worlds? I don't know. It's been 1,000 years since the last Ydin holder was born, and my world wasn't in danger during that time. Okay. But only one world survived that round. That I know for sure. Okay. Is it gonna be like Dragon Ball Super's, Tournament of Power or something? Mr. Kiros' world? It's convenient for us in the long run. The world the previous Ydin holder saved sent a warrior in order to protect you. Even though their world isn't in danger this time, they want to return the favor. The world the previous Ydin holder saved sent a warrior in order to protect you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and end the playback for this particular video here. As of right now, okay, I do not want this to be seen as mean, but I'm going to be frank. Right now, I'm frustrated. The story is throwing item after item of data at me, but I don't have any kind of form to figure out where that data fits. I'm trying to piece things together by context, and still the game just keeps throwing more at me. So I figured out something is going on, and it's a cyclical something. It happens multiple times in sequence. Multiple worlds are threatened. Petula has come here for some reason in connection to that, but she doesn't say she was the one that was sent to protect Suvi. And also query, was it whoever she's referring to, were they sent to protect Suvi specifically? If so, why Suvi? Or were they sent to protect this world? Yeah, I mean, just right now I'm getting a lot of questions and the game isn't giving me a lot of answers. This may be something that gets answered later in the game. This could be an intentional thing for you to garner up interest in the full game. But as of right now, after this, 15, 20 minutes of playing the game, I am feeling somewhat frustrated. Because I feel like I'm listening in on a conversation that's a follow-up to another conversation that was preempted by another conversation that started because of something else. So, anyway, like I said, that's going to be it for part 1. I'll let you know when I get part 2 up.